I call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees special meeting here on Monday, December 30th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee?
Here. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our township administrator is going to try to join us via Zoom, but we'll go ahead and go with is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Evans. Discussion?
Yeah, just briefly, again, I requested an item that is of great importance be addressed at this meeting, and again, it was ignored. And that is the refusal of the zoning commission chair to follow ORC the law in zoning changes. This is critical that number one, the policy and laws aren't being followed, but two, to move things forward. So I don't know why, again, it was refused, but we need to start addressing these issues.
Do you have any discussion regarding the current agenda, Mr. Evans?
That was discussion on the current agenda,
Okay,
being absent what I requested.
Well, I had a conversation with the administrator, I presume you did, and so this was going to be a single item that was on here, so that's why it is what it is. Is there any further discussion? Do you have anything, Ms. McKee?
Just keep in mind that it is a special meeting. We have to stick to the agenda.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
the agenda is adopted. Public comments, 3 minutes. Please state your name and address, come to the podium, and it will be restricted to the topic, which is on the planner proposal and approval of an extension of our contract planner at this time. So is there anyone that would like to speak at this time to the board?
Shelley Marie Epoch, 114 Royalty Drive, Etna, Ohio 43062. I had intended to send an email about these specific agenda items, so I was happy to see the special meeting. I am glad to be revisiting the contract extension, as well as the position of the planner. I'm very grateful the way everybody's been stewarding over the funds and being responsible with the spending, and I thank you for that. But I'd like you to consider to please take another look, see if you could possibly find a way to fund a contract extension for our zoning consultant and a planner position. I believe we do have a healthy budget, and maybe looking at it, you can accommodate some adjustments to see if we can go ahead and fund those things. With the priorities to update the zoning code and comprehensive plan and future land use map that we have right now, I think it's critical to invest in both this interim consultant as well as the planner to help us fulfill these goals and navigate the rush of economic development, the potential and demand, and the current projects we have going right now. And I feel we desperately need someone to hold these developers accountable and obtain the required permits, as well as ensuring that they fulfill their specs, deliverables, without cutting the corners and creating nightmares like our ongoing Scanel and FedEx issues that we have going right now. And I know with the volume of work already present and involved in catching up, compounded by the incoming and future demands, I don't see how a single inspector could ensure that all of those things are fulfilled completely and efficiently, especially just with the massive code enforcement obligations. I also think it's in the township's best interest to extend the consultant and hire planners that we don't have to rely on the help and guidance from Licking County. They're fantastic and a wealth of knowledge and experience, but their priorities aren't necessarily always Etna's priorities, and we don't want to always be left with. I think we need to have our answers and guidance readily available in certain critical times. In considering that both of the positions, it's kind of a widespread concern in Licking County that they've been, over the last several years, even decades, recycling of talent, consultants, and professionals. So I think it would benefit us if we had individuals with vast experience and knowledge, not only within our own county, but that reached outside and beyond that, to bring us fresh insights and perspective. Maybe they have a pulse on what's been working somewhere else and what's
30 seconds.
Oh, all right.
You're fine.
Well, I think you get the gist of where I'm coming from anyway, and I know we've elected you to make the hard decisions and to watch over funds. You've been doing a great job. I'm just asking you, please consider this. I think it's critical for our township right now. It would give us a great advantage in our economic development so that we could be responsible with it, get maximum benefit, max jobs, revenue, as well as ensure that our communities and even our neighborhoods are protected and enriched and not diminished in any way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I just want to say, if you didn't get to anything that you wanted us to know, if you want to share that.
I'm sorry, what?
If you wanted us to know anything more that you didn't get to, if you want to create a copy, and Holly can forward that to us.
Thank you. That's just an
Okay,
advocate
this
article.
one.
So thank you.
Anyone else this time? There will be an opportunity later for 2-minute comments as well, public comments, so I want to make you aware of that. Our new business, which is the planner posting approval and L.A. Schultz and Associates LLC contractor extension. We have a resolution in the packet. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-67 as presented that was posted on Friday?
Okay. And I'm glad you clarified that because there were some changes that were sent over through email.
That's right, there could be possible amendments. So I will move to adopt resolution 2024-67, resolution to approve the posting of the planner position for the township and the extension of the contract with L.A. Schultz and Associates LLC. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Evans. Discussion?
Yeah, I wanted to briefly go over to why we got here. Our zoning inspector resigned on January 3rd. I requested on January 31st, because it wasn't done yet, that the position and an additional planner position be advertised. Again, I asked on February 14th that this be done. Finally, on February 20th, 2 positions were approved to be posted. The zoning inspector and the position we're considering now, the Director of Planning and Zoning Administration, all unanimous. The zoning inspector position was not handled. It was posted briefly on, I think, on our website, maybe emailed in April, 2 months later, and not even on Indeed. I had to take that over. But we had 3 qualified applicants, 3 experienced applicants that applied and withdrew their interest because of issues with communication, response, and that. We hired the consultant on June 18th as a temporary measure. Now, it's been 314 days since what we're going to consider today was already approved, but Mr. Burkholder chose not to post it during that entire time. And even when we hired and had the additional expense of Mr. Schultz, that was 195 days ago. Again, 0 posting. That was approved and board directed. This is a manufactured emergency, and we need to start dealing with things properly. Even tonight, the proposed resolution doesn't ensure that anything will actually be done with filling the in-house position. So I did present a resolution working with the administrator on changes to ensure that things are carried out that are needed with this position, so we're not endlessly extending this consultant's contract, and I think it's needed. So I would move to amend the resolution to the one same resolution number 67 with the section 1 containing the five directives, and then the section 2 with the changes there.
Is there a second to the amendment as proposed by Mr. Evans? Is there a second to the motion by Mr. Evans to amend the original resolution number 2024-67? Hearing none, the amendment fails.
Okay. And then I'll just quickly say that I would not be in support of extending this, because there's no guarantee. Again, it's been 314 days that this board already gave Mr. Burkholder the authority to post the position, and he on his own chose not to. That's not right. So there's no provision in here to ensure it. The administrator is supposed to do it. However, she's dealing with her own issues and is not here full time, and that is my concern. So,
Ms. McKee?
I would like to actually consider a part-time employee that comes in the office to help. And the reason I'm saying this is because what I'm seeing is our administrator assistant is doing some of the work in the zoning office, wherefore that's putting her in a tough situation. That's why she has a problem keeping up with her minutes, because she's doing stuff, I guess in iWorks or whatever else they have her doing, where the planner, I guess, is so-called training our zoning inspector. Now, we could bring somebody in to help a part-timer day-to-day to try to catch up now that we have our administrators off on leave, and a lot of things are starting to get backed up again, I'm seeing. But we had Shelley here just Thursday. You spent, what, 4 or 5 hours in here helping us out? And I saw you, sitting in the zoning office there at the desk while Lance took a lunch break. Not Lance, Ted. So, I see us needing somebody in this office for sure. But an example, Lance with Schultz and Associate, he was here part-time. So I'm not sure why we're trying to go with a full-time employee all of a sudden, where he was here part-time as a consultant. Now, I know there's other options that we could put a vendor, example, hire a firm and just use them when we need them, but at the same time bring a part-time person in this office to work to try to keep us caught up into so things will keep moving forward. That's what I would propose.
Well, let me give some clarification. First of all, I disagree with Mr. Evans's analysis of the timeline. First of all, Mr. Evans, you had conversations with our administrator, and on Friday, apparently the language was worked out for the original resolution, and then apparently on Saturday you wanted to add additional things, such as, in order to get this passed, that you want security cameras within the conference room, so
we can interview, correct?
So, well, you're threatening again that when you don't get your way and you don't get the cameras in the conference room, that you're now going to tie it to a need that we have. I want to explain some things that we did have a member of our community volunteer to come in on Friday, but that was not relative to zoning. That was to start the process of some inventory on some antiquated equipment, because we're making great progress here in the conference room. So that's the reason that the person was there. I know that the training we're talking about isn't just about processing permits, because Mr. Walker is processing permits and dealing with residents that come in. But our zoning consultant is also teaching him and working cooperatively with him to do not only research, but to work on the new plans that are coming in as far as plan review. Plan review is a whole lot different than zoning code compliance and other things. So as far as needing another part-time person, that's the reason for needing a planner. We have a whole list, which I'll be presenting to the board, of currently active projects, but we're also cleaning up some of the projects of the past. We've had some that have already been approved, and now they've come back and they've wanted a modification to a PMUD. We attend water and sewer meetings. We go out on field inspections. With soil and water, we go through walkthroughs on projects that are now closing up. There is a tremendous need here in the township, and if we're going to stay ahead of the game. Now, as far as permits, we are caught up on the permits, and I can say, because I am in the office, that it is a collaborative effort with our administrative assistant, Ms. Palumbo, who works cooperatively with the zoning department. So we've made great strides. Another thing that I want to emphasize, though, is that we went back to 2015 to find those text amendments and map amendments that were never sent over to Licking County Planning, so their zoning map is not up to date. They're supposed to be recorded at the county recorder's office, and those have not been done, so we're doing a lot of catch-up work. In fact, I was in here today working with a consultant to go through the 13, 14 of those that we still want to verify that we have the right zoning according to the resolution. So there's a tremendous amount of work. I support this extension of 90 days. Mr. Evans, I want to remind you that we made it a priority, this board, or at least I thought there was consensus, that we would wait until we got a full-time administrator on board, which came in October 7th, before we selected a full-time planning consultant. And you were advised by our administrator that that was going to be delayed now because of her absence, but that we would advertise. So that's the rest of the story I think everyone needs to know, because we felt whoever the new administrator is, they ought to have direct input in the interviewing process, because that planning position is a high-level position that's going to be working in close connection to the administrators. So we have had a delay here in that process. So you're not exactly telling the whole story of why we've had the delay, but I think that is the proper way to go, is to extend the contract, to have that coverage in the office, and then we can have the discussion regarding the full-time position.
Can you ask why you did not post the position 314 days ago when we approved it?
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. First of all, Mr. Evans, it's because of your actions that created a great disruption in this township. We had our township 20-year experienced administrative assistant leave. We had our current, at that time, our township administrator left. And well, you can call it what you want, but you created that situation.
Nope,
and we had our zoning inspector leave as well. So it is what it is. We are where we are now, Mr. Evans, and so you can vote your conscience, but I can tell you that if this contract is not extended, it will be a great burden on the township, and I don't know who's going to do the technical review meetings or handle those issues.
Well, again, you're not being honest. February 20th, we approved 2 positions. You should have posted 2 positions. You willfully withheld it because you didn't feel like doing it, but you voted for it, and we voted for it. No, you didn't. And even looking back at the minutes for that meeting, they're not correct. They're not. This is just a series of mismanagement. And even when we hired the consultant, it was supposed to be temporary until we found someone in-house. That was in June.
It was 6 months.
Nothing.
It was
Right.
6 months.
We should have been looking for someone in-house during that time. Nothing. 0. So now all of a sudden you want to extend it, and a promise of, yeah, we're going to look for someone now, and that's what I put in there, safeguards to ensure that we can interview and all that stuff. It's not holding hostage, it's just trying to get stuff through. And Mr. Burkholder, this same time that we hired the consultant is when we're dealing with the comp plan presentation, and 0 has been done with that too. And it's just failure after failure, and just manufactured emergencies that, oh, we need to do it now or else this. Why didn't you post that position? You didn't even post the inspector's position on Indeed or anything. I had to take that over and had it done within hours. So I don't understand how we're supposed to take you at your word when you've lied to us, when you haven't done this. This is documented. This isn't just me saying, making things up. These are emails and requests of 12 items to take care of, it was one. Of 11 over here, it was one. In the minutes, in the video. I've been saying all year, we need to fill this with a full-time position. We don't need part-time. We're growing. We need to build within. But now you're saying that, well, we didn't do it because the minister's coming on. You hired, and nothing against Mr. Walker, he's a smart guy in that, but zero experience in zoning inspector right before we hired the administrator. I mean, you pick and choose what you want to kind of say and explain, but like I said, your history is not addressing the issues for almost an entire year. We could have avoided that consultant altogether at $80 an hour, $1,920 a week for 3 days. And we could have been building the infrastructure within.
We have.
No, in-house.
Is our administrator on the line?
Yes, I am.
Ms. Bedsole, do you have anything, if you can put that mic up there, thank you. Would you like to weigh in on the discussion, please?
I do have several points. And these won't necessarily be in the same order that they were brought up, just as I can remember them. First of all, I believe everyone understood that my initial plan was to advertise for this position in November and have someone hired by December so that by the end of the contract term, we would already have someone in-house. Obviously, that time frame was altered due to my unexpected illness. And so it put me a little bit behind the 8 ball. But at the end of the day, this resolution directs me to run an interview process to hire that position. Now, I do believe that this needs to be a full-time position. Having been there and worked with there only being someone there 3 days a week, that is, it is challenging for us to get our work done timely. And so those 2 added days, first of all, it allows staff to be able to come together. We're always trying to manage around, what days are somebody going to be there. Not that people don't take vacation, things like that, but I do believe, having looked at the work, what's there, what we have to go back and finalize from previously, and what's coming through the door, I do believe that is a full-time position. I only see more things coming to the township, which is fantastic. I mean, that's what we want, and we want to be able to have conversations with these developers. I think that many times people don't understand just the time commitment to those that are thinking about coming here. We spend hours and days with them. And so the position is a full-time position. And I understand, Trustee Evans, your concern that it won't be. But the fact is that a lot of your changes they're just contingent on me not doing my job. And the fact is I'm going to do my job. And I've run a successful interview process, brought great candidates to the board. You've made decisions on who you wanted to hire, and we moved on. It'll be the same process that we utilized last time. And so I do highly encourage the passage of the resolution. Again, it has some extra things that I did amend and put in there just in case, for whatever reason, I can't fulfill my duties. But I do highly encourage passage of this, because otherwise our township is going to come to a standstill for development purposes. And that's a harm to the township. And as you know, my mantra is it good for the township? And in this instance, it is good for the township. That's all.
Oh, thank you. Susan, thanks for being on the call here. I know I sent you an email early in regards to some of the wording under the resolution when you mentioned posting, the township administrator and select staff shall interview the qualified individual. Could you please explain that to me, just be more specific to that?
Certainly. So let's just to kind of go back to the previous process that we utilized for the road crew, the last time that we hired a couple of candidates. And so myself and another staff member interviewed all of the candidates. They were all, gridded. They were scored. I provided you the scoring to show who was the top candidates, and it would follow that same process.
Okay.
I have not selected yet who the staff would be. I do try and, of course, keep it away from the board because ultimately we're bringing you the top candidates for you to make the decision. And so you don't want to be down in the process. You want to be at the end of the process making the decision. Did that explain enough?
Yes, that's explained it well. And so, like I said, there's some additional things within this resolution. I'm not against hiring, and when I mention part-time, it's only because the fact that Mr. Schultz is part-time. We do need a full-time employee, and I'm not saying we should not hire. I want to hire a full-time planner. The thing that I see as a problem is we need something to happen quickly, and if we could just keep the hiring process as clean as possible instead of having all this contingent to the resolution, which to me it makes it more messier. I don't think we should do that. I think we should post it, interview, and hire, and be done with it as a full-time. But to have all this other, I call it pork, in this resolution just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not opposed to hiring a full-time planner here, just to make it clear. But the reason I said part-time because Lance was here part-time. And, so that's why I brought that up.
Right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
do not disagree with you. That is the plan. Post it, close it, get the candidates, bring whomever is qualified in, interview them, bring it to you guys. I mean, in theory, I wanted to try and have it done in January, but just the timing because of the posting, it'll probably knock us to the first meeting in February for the actual hiring. But I completely agree. This should run no differently than it runs for any of the rest of our employees that we are hiring, and that is the goal, to just get it done. And I don't mean that negatively, but
Yes.
as quickly as possible.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And that's why the extension of this contract would give us coverage. It would give us continuity so that we don't have a loss of service there. We can keep up with the current cases that we have.
I'd just like to say, my concern again is, I have full confidence in Mrs. Betzel. However, again, she's been hit with this issue, and my concern, and I believe my duty, is to ensure that this is carried out. What is in the currently considered resolution is that the full board will address it. Well, the full board, minus me trying to get it done, has not done anything since February 20th and just refused to. So that's not really a solution because nothing will be done. I mean, as it stands right now, Mr. Burkholder made it clear in his email that he is the administrator's supervisor, and he's doing everything else when in her absence. And when I say doing everything, it's not doing the stuff, but holding responsibility and control. And that hasn't worked. So again, I'm not in support of the current resolution as is, because I don't think it provides safeguards enough to ensure that it's just not a never-ending extension. Because again, for 314 days, this same position was supposed to be posted, and Mr. Burkholder refused to, and Ms. McKee did nothing.
Well, all I can say is it's categorically false that I've done anything to block or control our administrator. I have worked cooperatively cooperatively with her. Mr. Evans, it's pretty well proven that you engage in many false narratives. So I've said enough on this. Do you have anything else, Ms. McKee? I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear that Mr. Evans tried to redo the resolution. And of course, back to what Mr. Burkholder said, he tried to include other things. It's almost like when you see Congress add all this extra pork to try to get things passed, you have to read it because it could be about 1,000 different issues within there. And this is kind of like holding us hostage as a board to get what he wants. So with that being said, I'm not against hiring a full-time planner, but I want a clean resolution, not with all the other stipulations with it. And I understand Mr. Burkholder's place here in the Township Daily. I was there for 2 years, and I was always accused of not working with the other trustee Evans, which is not true. So I understand it's hard being here every day and trying to get things. And then of course our administrator is off on leave right now, and he's trying to fill in the gap. And I get it, and it's a lot. So I'm all for, let's get the job posted, let's get somebody in here full-time as a planner, and in the meantime, if we could get a person in here to try to keep moving forward some of the work that we have. I don't want to see Holly doing some of the things she's doing and not getting her duties done, and then she gets put on the spot here in a board like her minutes aren't completed. So I want to try to fix that as well. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Are we going to discuss the actual, the posting, the job description?
If you'd like, do you have comments?
iWorks experience for preferred qualifications isn't in there. Should it be, since that's the system we use?
It could be that I forwarded the materials we had. I don't know if you forwarded anything to the administrator, but the administrator put together the job description, which I looked over and felt it was appropriate. Do you have any other concerns? I'm sure during the interview process that will be part of the.
So is this the same job description that we approved on February 20th?
I don't know if it is or not, Mr. Evans.
That's my point. There's no accountability here
No,
whatsoever.
Mr. Evans, this is the, go ahead,
Yes,
Ms. Bedsole,
Well,
go ahead.
May I add something that, first of all, I'm sorry, I don't have the job description right in front of my face. Isn't iWork listed in the minimum qualification section?
Yes. Yes.
Right,
Is it-
so you have to have experience with that, so it
Yes.
doesn't need to be in preferred.
Yes.
You're required to have some
Oh, okay,
experience.
it was without the capital Q. I missed that. Thank you.
Oh, so, maybe I'm sorry if I misspelled it.
No,
But
you're fine. Thank you.
Okay, but we looked for a job description and could not find one, so therefore I created one. I went out to a lot of the other jurisdictions.
Yes.
Similarly sized jurisdictions, seeing what, they required, knowing what we need to have done, and I created the job description.
Makes sense.
Well, what would have been easier is if we would have just provided her with the job description we approved on February 20th. But
I
just
understand.
purple or that.
I understand, Mr. Evans.
I mean, I'm just hearing a lot of excuses here.
Yeah, I
and
know.
I want to do, and I'm here, but there's nothing being done when you're here. There's nothing being accomplished, and I accomplish more from my home office than anything.
As evidenced on Facebook, that is correct.
No.
Okay, let me just clarify one thing on this, that we are not, the amendment with all those other things, security cameras and all that, was not passed.
That did
There
not
was not a
pass.
second to the motion.
Right.
So what we're voting on is
It was-
the extension and the posting according to what our administrator said, and her intentions to get that posted as quickly as possible. But the extension then would give us that continuity, and we may have a full-time person hired prior, and that is the objective, to have them hired prior to the end of the 90-day extension. Is there any further?
May I add some clarification?
Yes.
For Trustee McKee, just for your point, because, you did get a resolution from me.
Yep.
That was just simply directed me to do the job.
Yes.
And then after discussions with Trustee Evans, I did go back and add, it's really alternative language. It's really all that it is. It's if I don't do my job, this is who's going to take over. So if that is, I wasn't sure which language you were talking about that you didn't want to have in there, the pork, if you will. If you were talking about Trustee Evans' new amendment or what was in there.
Yes.
But my point is, my point was that the original resolution stopped at, I am directed to do these.
Well, and the one that was posted included that first stopgap measure, but not mine. And I take offense to being pork. It's holding accountable as, like I said, when you received today, the mismanagement of the minutes from this meeting on the 20th. And Mr. Burkholder just signing minutes that.
You're out of order.
No, but it's.
That's not the issue, that's not the issue
It is
here.
the mismanagement of what
Mr.
you're
Evans,
not handling.
We're very aware of your personal attacks on.
It's not
on
personal,
people.
you had
Yes, it is.
3 qualified applicants pull out because of
Mr.
your
Evans,
lack
we're not
of
going to
management.
relitigate the past, so anything else, Ms.?
We're
So,
just gonna repeat it.
Mrs. Bedford, Betzel, I'm sorry, Mrs. Betzel. Only reason that I made the comment is about the pork is because most people understand that. Okay, so Mr. Evans, that's why I said it's no disrespect. Okay, it's just an understanding
Absolutely.
of how it's handled. So I do see under your resolution 4, it states, should the township administrator not be able to conduct the interviews or any part of the process of the Board of Trustees as a whole shall complete the process. And I think this is where Mr. Evans comes in, where he inserted his name as to authorize, assume any duties. Now, he can't work with us. He's on Facebook, he's disrespecting us as a board, he's disrespecting our fiscal officers, he's going after our zoning chair. We can't work like this.
I'm not the one that violated the Open Meetings Act. I'm not the one that mismanaged it for 314 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll call the question. Roll call, please. On the
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
No.
the resolution fails.
Now,
Well, I'd like to move my resolution 2024-67.
I'm sorry, your amendment already failed, Mr. Evans, so your amendment failed.
So you don't want to
Your
ensure that we
amendment,
can continue our
no, Mr.
operation?
Evans, this is on you. Your
No,
amendment
it is
failed.
not on me, sir.
We will go to public comments.
314
We will
days.
go to public comments at this time. Is there anyone, you will not hold
There were
this township,
314
you will
days of
not
day
hold this township hostage, Mr. Evans. Is there anyone that would like to come forward at this time? Please state your name and address, and you have 2 minutes for comments.
I'm sorry, my name's Thea Young White. I'm sorry, Thea, T-H-A-A-H, Young, 9167 Taylor Road. I have a question for the administrator, and it may be a little bit odd for just a quick answer, but my question is with the Summit Road crossing development coming full steam ahead at us, it is a personal development on
you
my
can't speak
property.
on that tonight.
I'm
Because
not,
it's
hold on, I'll
no,
get there.
no, this is because it's a special meeting, Thea. You can't speak on something outside of this.
Are we sure?
Yes,
We never
I'm
got a
100%
prosecutor's
right.
opinion.
Well,
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Evans,
100%
yeah. Is
sure.
it relating to this position?
It is relating to this position because with the lack of no position,
Right.
and we are challenged with complex issues with this particular development and what other development, what does this board have to offer citizens like myself who may actually have to leave this community because of situations and money? I might be bought out tomorrow, guys. So I want to know for assurances when Reynoldsburg continues to ask Etna Township to bleed money, who is going to make good decisions for us? These are attorney planner decisions that I feel like, yeah, maybe we've been waiting, restructuring. I get it, I really do. But I have serious concerns. I did send each of you that information about that meeting.
30
And
seconds.
I have been looking for other things, but I want to know from the administrator, if we are handed a contract soon from Reynoldsburg, do we have enough information, enough support to be able to even make a decision? I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, would you like to respond? Ms. Betzel?
Sure. I mean, it is, after January 1st, it is going to be challenging for the township to meet the needs of not just that developer, any developer that's coming in. We will no longer have a planner on staff. So, you know, honestly, I don't, in this 30 seconds since we voted, I don't necessarily have a plan right now, because we're going to have to pivot and figure out what we are going to do. I mean, at the end of the day, the township will help as much as we can. You know, it just, everybody's going to have to, you know, it's kind of all hands on deck at this point. But of course, we won't have an actual planner. So I hear your concern, and the only thing I can promise, which is what I promised that very first night, was that, you know, we will do whatever we can do to keep Etna Township moving forward.
Yeah. Mr. Burkholder. In regards to, because I thought we hired a consultant.
Public comments?
on this.
Not the trustee.
No,
No,
just a minute.
she spoke, and she's an administrator, so I'm gonna,
Your question?
No,
yeah, thank you, Mr. Canavapore, thank you.
Yes.
I thought we hired a consulting firm underneath Schultz at the
We
same
do,
time.
but that'll cost us even more.
Yeah,
And
but
they'll
if
be-
something comes urgently, but back to Thea, we did get your documentation, and I did ask our chair of the board, Mr. Burkholder, to make sure that we can have that on the next meeting of January 7th, because Mayor Bagney said he would like to come and speak on that situation.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Rachel Zelazny, 10141 Tollgate Road, Southwest. Hope you guys all had a good Christmas. I am kind of disappointed tonight that you guys called a special meeting just to not pass anything and have us continue going forward. I don't know why it's such an issue to get help for the people that need help in this township, and why it's dragging teeth for every person. Like, if Jackie needed help and she's like, hey, I need help, why it's a big deal? Why can't we just help her? If zoning needs help, why can't we help them? And to not pass the resolution, it's not just affecting this room, it's affecting my board, it's affecting their board. And I've noticed, you know, there's a lot of people from different zoning boards in here tonight to see what's going on. I just left my children to come here to see what our future looks like come January, in our meetings in January. And the fact that we have a negative outcome, it's not good to see. But that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Shelley Marie, 114 Royalty Drive. And I'm just thinking, I'm someone that's always brainstorming. Perhaps as when we leave and you can, you know, have this on your mind, maybe you consider as a possible solution, and it probably won't be the most efficient, but maybe perhaps a 45-day contract extension versus a 90-day. That would save you some money there. It would could help carry us over, and it's possible if the hiring process stays on track, that at the end of the 45 days, the new person could come in and you could just pick up from there. But, you know, I encourage you, please, you know, keep your minds open and keep on brainstorming. And thank you for letting us continue to provide input.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Anyone else this time?
Can I just add, I'm sorry, I just have one more question.
I do appreciate the mayor coming, and I wanted to just ask, though, that's my point. We're not prepared for the mayor of Brownsburg to step into this dais and speak. We don't have enough information about this project. We don't have somebody examining this project with our best interest, not only the township, the business of the township, but the residents of the township. We don't have anybody looking over those detailed, complex agreements and thought process. I did express to Mr. Evans, who did respond to me, and expressed my concern, and expressed it to the zoning board a month and a half ago, because this hub that only Etna residents are going to pay for, right? This hub is the western half of Etna Township being
Okay.
annexed.
Thank you.
But we
Well,
need
I'm gonna have to-
know that.
We have to stay on topic here, but it relates to the issue of, yes, we need the professionals in this
Yes.
office to deal with these kinds of things, which is why we brought forward this resolution tonight, working cooperatively and in conjunction with our expert township administrator. And Mr. Evans had input on the original that was voted down tonight, and we thought that was sufficient. And then Saturday decided he wanted to add the security cameras, he wanted to put himself in charge, and then we continued to go way back and relitigate the past. And so I'm highly disappointed, and I feel the same kind of sentiments that, what are we gonna do now? So let me ask, is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? And again, please state your name and address, and I'll give you a little more than 2 minutes because I want to be fair to everyone since.
Alicia Zacher, AJ Zacher,
Address,
Trail
please.
East, Cumberland Trails.
What's your address?
79 Trail East,
Very good.
Cumberland Trails.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought the administrator was supposed to be the person that was involved in this process. You selected her to make decisions. If I understand your argument earlier, that you chose someone to help you administrate the process of hiring and putting people in place.
Correct.
It sounds like it's been revised. Is that why you voted? Is that why the no was the deciding factor?
I voted yes.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
But was it altered? Is
Mr. Well, you weren't here, but Mr. Evans offered an amendment that he wanted to include, in order for passage of this, he wanted security cameras installed in the conference room. And
For interviews.
And he wanted to put himself in charge.
I see. And
Because-
is that what the administrator approved?
No, the original one that amendment failed earlier in the evening, and the original that she worked on was presented, and that was voted down.
The most current one was denied. It was rejected.
That's right, the one that
That Mark revised.
no, his revision did not get, his amendment
Right,
to the original failed.
correct.
And so the
She
original,
approved the amendment.
she approved the original.
Okay, so he just revised it.
He revised it on his own, and he had to come to the floor to have an amendment.
Okay, we should kind of follow that. I apologize for being late, but I was listening to it on my way here. It seems like, I understand, and my condolences, I've never met the administrator, but if the process isn't working, I mean, we're no further than we were before we had it. And it's still coming back to people aren't agreeing, and Roz and Mark Evans voted no. So it's a moot point, and that's been twice now, is that right? It's been voted no twice?
Mhm.
Okay,
What do you, I don't know what you're.
2 times this has been turned down. Will it be coming up again?
No, this was, we brought it here tonight for passage.
Right, but it was already rejected once, wasn't it?
No,
Okay, so it must have been the zoning.
what are you talking about,
The
rejected?
extension?
No, forget it. Bottom line is this is dead in the water now, correct?
I don't know, we'll have to see at the
So
first
it
of
can
the
be brought
year.
back up again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's the first of the year. We have discussed that we will post the position. This is not going to stop us from posting a position, and they will, hopefully. And if somebody applies, they're qualified.
Well,
then
this
move
was to
forward.
post the position
Yeah,
as
but you had,
described.
yeah, but you had other things
I'm
with it.
sorry, February 20th was already approved to post the position.
Yeah.
The position
So-
can be posted.
Yeah,
It
we,
should have been 314 days ago.
so there's an additional extension that was tied into the resolution from the firm, Schultz firm. And that's what I rejected as far as voting. I want us to hire a planner. I want a full-time planner here. But I didn't want all this additional things to go along with
The
it.
bottom
So-
line is, we won't have any coverage, any planning coverage until, if in fact a new one is hired and given, and that will be a challenging process.
We have the county.
It has to
We've always
be-
had the county.
The county does not do our
Yeah,
plan
Yeah,
review.
right, no,
for the
that's true,
township.
but there's additional things that we can use them for, if that has to be.
No, that's not true, because they're short planners as well. We
Well, they're
have to
short,
have
but
our
they do
own
have-
representative to go to a
So-
TRC. Okay, that's exceeded 2 minutes. Is there anyone else that would like to, at this time?
There's-
I just have it. So is Susan still gonna post the position?
Pardon?
I guess that just kind of confused. So she's still posting the position?
Yes.
I don't
Correct.
know. Susan, you want to weigh in on that?
I'm so glad I went.
Well, I mean, technically, the resolution tonight was twofold. To allow for the posting of the position and to allow an extension until we fill the position.
But if there was
Which would have
already
been-
an approval in February?
My-
Correct,
There was already the approval on February 20th.
that's right,
I mean, I've sent the audio of it. I've sent the,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And what was the title on that position, Mr. Evans?
it was the planner and zoning administrator.
Correct.
Okay, well, this is not the zoning administrator, so it is a different job description.
No, we did.
Same duties.
We did approve to hire a planner. We approved that, and not tonight, and we're not approved. Like I
Well-
mentioned, there's an additional things in here in this resolution, meaning we want to keep the planner on board, the contractor. Tie it into that, clean it up, let's just hire a planner. And we said
Mr.
that.
Hanson, would you have some
If the
public
board,
comments?
if the board is of the opinion that the February resolution still stands, I mean, that's just a name change, quite frankly. I simply did not put the word zoning in there because I wanted to keep a very clear distinction between what our zoning inspector does and
Yes.
what a planner does.
Yes.
So that's the only reason I left that word out.
Well-
And that, honestly, that's just a name. But if the board is of the opinion that the February resolution is sufficient for me to post it, I'll get it posted.
Thank you, and that's why we want it.
Very good.
314
Mr.
days ago.
Hanson,
John Hanson, Ridgewood Drive, Etna, Ohio. I was heading somewhere else. You said you want to say something. It seems like it's impossible to make Mr. Evans happy. The only way that he's ever going to stop his pursuit, he's knocked out 9 people out of the township now. His BZA, the entire BZA, the other 3 you're familiar with. Now he's attacking Jackie and he's attacking Letitia. So, you know, he's never happy. The only way that Mark's going to be okay is if we all bow down and say, yes, Mark, you handle everything. You take care of everything.
keep it on the topic, please.
I think this is on the topic because this is what's happened tonight. You know, he had all these pre-attacks on Facebook and he at least telegraphs what he's going to do. And when he attacks the township for records, then he records that. So he's kind of an interesting character. I mean, it would be hugely funny if he hadn't spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with his sniveling and idiocy. Oh yeah, it's always Gary's fault. You know, it takes more than one person here. That's what you say all the time. It's always a board until something happens. Suddenly, then Gary can do everything by himself.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Spike Street changes without board authority, he's doing them.
Yeah. Bring out your list. Cut and paste.
It
some
is.
more. Cut and paste some more
It's
things.
called accountability.
Okay, Mr. Evans, we've seen your act. I do not bow.
30 seconds. Thank you. Anyone else at this time? Anyone else? Very good. Announcements and trustee comments. Our next meeting, which will be our reorganizational meeting, will be Tuesday, January 7th. We'll also have a regular meeting at that time, and that'll be on the 7th. Do you have any comments, Ms. McKee?
I just want to make sure that we post that planning position as soon as possible. That's my recommendation.
And what are we going to do about coverage then between the time that we hire someone and beginning, tomorrow will be the end of the contract for the consultant planners. So what will the coverage be? Are you going to come in, Mr. Evans, and start working with the zoning department and update the zoning map and those things? Are you willing to come in and spend time to
Mr. Burkholder, I've been trying to implement the diligence system. You've interfered with that. I've been trying to get everything. I couldn't even get access to the township garage.
Mr. Evans, that's not the subject. That's not the subject.
No, you're asking, no, this is on point.
You a question.
You've mismanaged this entire process.
Are you coming in? Are you going
You
to come
have
in?
mismanaged this entire process, and you want to put it on my shoulders when Ms. McKee also voted no. But I have been trying all year. When the zoning inspector, the only person in the office, resigned on January 3rd, you waited a month and a half to even discuss advertising a position that is a standard position that we needed. And then didn't advertise it right. And then you have time and time again mishandled, and we keep hearing of, oh, I'm in here. I don't know what you're doing in here, but you're not doing it right because
Yes or no?
Ms. Hanson,
Yes or no?
look at the February 20th minutes. It doesn't contain any of this. Why? Because Gary signed off on it, didn't review it. There's no oversight. Ms. Hanson, this is my time.
Anything else?
I just would say,
I'll give you more time.
Mr. Evans, I would just say, I was here every day when I was chair of the board. Gary's had his feel for it. Now let you do it now, because you've never done it. So I would vote that you would be here full time to help out in the office.
I did it.
You should be here and be here like the rest of us have. And I think that will be fair.
So go ahead, Mr. Evans. We'll give you a little more time.
For two individuals that just pat themselves on the back saying, I'm in here all the time and I'm doing this and that, nothing's being done. Zero zilch. There's zero accountability to anything. We have a zoning chair that for the entire year, multiple times, refused.
You're out of order.
No. This is about
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. So move.
Roll call, please.
I'm going to be speaking at every public comment because you just want to
Roll
shut
call,
me up.
please. Well, I will when you
Mr.
continue
Evans?
to assault.
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not sure what's so funny. You're incompetent. You keep getting of mice scraps. I won't support that. Yeah. Just
When I saw threatening him, Mr. Evans, if you are, I heard you. I just dropped the argument. Thank you. I heard the voice and I'm looking around like, thank you. So you get it going, you'll get it posted. Okay.
She's not listening.
Yeah, right. Like, this is.
Oh.